beats. Rap now, cry later. Am I a chronic abuser? Trying to steal a limelight like Red and Meth stole a dooster. Without your pack of lies, all pack of shooters. Just my wise guys in a pack of...
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the UW and the Urban Wrestling Network, and welcome back to the Adrenaline Rush podcast. My name is Mike Larkin, and joining me, as always, is my man, DC Daniel Crimmins. What is going on tonight, Dan?
Another day, another dollar, living the dream.
Hey, man, it's what we do each and every time we do these shows. And first and foremost, speaking of the shows you can get on the UW and the Urban Wrestling Network, welcome back to the Demon S, man. Killed it with Chef on the first episode of the Demon S show. Demon S talk about what we're going to be talking about today, knockouts. Shout out to Nicola, man. Nicola killing it right out the gate.
Oh, folks, if you haven't seen that yet, well, don't stop our show. As soon as you're done with our show, go check out her show.
Badass.
Honestly, like, she killed it, and you know what? I can't wait to see what she does in the future. You know, it's letting her do her own thing. You know, killed it,
dude. It's
absolutely killed it.
Dan, it's Sly and the Family Stone. Thank you for letting me be myself again. That's what it is. That's what
and
it
not
is.
only that, you know, on the UWN, which unlike old networks is not $9.99 a month.
It's free 90.
No price.
Free 99, man. Free 99.
So, Mike, what are we talking about today?
Oh, you know what we're talking about, man, because I know you want to get a hot take and a hot start with this. So we're going to go right out the gate. First and foremost, folks, we're going to be talking about the knockouts. The knockouts, EST 2007, Bayhay B. But before we even start from the encompassment of the knockouts on the women's wrestling and Impact, I got to say this to you, Mr. Daniel Crimmins, Bound for Glory, Mickie James, knockouts champion, defeating Diana Purrazzo 10 times for Mickie James. Hardcore country. What do you think, Dan?
What was it? What does it solve? What does it do?
Okay, so what we were talking about, Diana Purrazzo, I'm saying to myself, she's beaten Melina, she's beaten Jazz, she's beaten Thunder Rosa, she's going through everybody, you know? She's beaten Jordan Grace, she's beaten this person, that person, she's going through them all. Then Mickie James, who she was feuding with, they did the stuff at the NWA Empower pay-per-view. Oh my God, I'm like, okay, so now you have the veteran beat Diana Purrazzo, and that's cool, but at the same time, it's like, she didn't need it. She really didn't need it, though. And I love Mickie James.
You know, this, to me, is on level of Goldberg beating The Fiend.
Okay, all right. I don't think it's that level, but all right, explain why you think it's like Goldberg beating The Fiend in reality.
Okay, you have a character that is red hot.
Yes.
You know, and don't get me wrong, Mickie James a lot more talented than Goldberg, and less botches too.
Oh yeah. Well, there was that one botch with her and Gail Kim back on that Raw where she dropped Gail Kim on her dome piece, but that was like I don't know how many years ago, but still less botches than Goldberg, absolutely.
So, but in the sense that you know, it's somebody that you know comes in. What does it serve? Like, what's the end game here?
Have a feud with Mickie for the title. I mean, here's the thing. Like, she lost the title the first time to Su Yung, but that was all storyline. You know what I'm saying? You thought you were getting Susie, but you get Su Yung. They built to that. And they built to this, too. But at the same time, it's like you got this white, red-hot woman, this heel, the virtuoso Diana Purrazzo, and it's like you're having her lose to the veteran Mickie James. With this whole thing going on, the thing, man, it's like it was set for her to finally be this big win, the veteran. Mickie James solidified the knockouts division. But then you have hardcore country, unless you do stuff with, you know, NWA, Mickie James and Kiera Hogan. They do something with an NWA Impact relationship with the ladies. So we'll see.
You know, I will say this, and it just felt like with Bound for Glory, they could have done so much more, and
yeah, I mean, it's the other thing that happened with the ladies was the Inspiration, the former Iconics, won the tag titles. The
hey.
Iconic.
I'm a big fan of those ladies. I love me some Billy Kay. But you know what? We all knew they were going to show up somewhere.
And here's the thing, too. This also proves that AEW is not the one-stop destination for all these talents to go to. They are going to...
Well, the reason I think that they didn't go to AEW.
Good.
There's nothing for them to do.
I mean, the women's division, I got to say, out of all the women's division, they are the weakest. And I'm sorry, and I don't mean to say, because there is great talent there. They're the weakest division there. You know what I'm saying?
They don't use that.
They don't use the women. I mean, we're back to, God, what are we back to now with the women? It's just, well, we got Dr. Britt Baker, we had Anna Jay, but it's like, what do we do now?
I think at Full Gear we have Tay Conti versus Britt Baker, which that should be good.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and I'll say this. I saw Tainara Conti in the Mae Young Classic. She was great on NXT. She's legit a Brazilian fighter, you know what I'm saying? And it worked. But like I said, you know, it's Britt Baker and Tainara Conti. We know the end result. We know Tainara ain't getting the belt.
Unless they pull a swerve.
If they pull a swerve, I'd be happy with it. I mean, she's showcasing what WWE missed out on, but we'll see. I know they're doing Tainara Conti. And Ruby Soho, here's the thing. She's only been there, for a cup of coffee, and she's already feuding with Penelope Ford, and Excalibur's acting like, oh, her enemy. I'm like, she's only been here for like a few weeks, and she's already feuding with Penelope.
And the other issue I have with Bound for Glory, and it's not even about the ending of the show. The Kiss Demon, really?
The old Dale Torborg came back in to call your shot.
I mean, like, what year are we in?
Well, the Kiss Demon. So the last time we saw Dale Torborg on TV and TNA, I believe, was 2005 when he wrestled Lance Hoyt on that Destination X pay-per-view. I believe it was 2005 or 2006. Either way, the Kiss fucking Demon, Dale Torborg, friggin' Chicago White Sox. God, he looks like shit. He looks absolutely like shit.
Like, it looks like, how did it go? It probably went something like this. Hey, Dale, we want to bring you in for Bound for Glory. What, can you do it? I mean, I'm not really... Oh, it'll be fine.
I would have rather seen Wildcat Chris Harris, but we know what happened with Chris Harris. Which, again, I feel so bad for Chris Harris. I would
have rather seen Braden Walker as well.
Braden fucking Walker would have been much better than...
Not.
He was there. Braden Walker, I'm going to knock your brains out. That would have been much better than fucking the Kiss Demon. I mean, they got Missy Hyatt like a couple of months ago, and now we got the Kiss Demon.
What's next? They're going to bring in Ric Flair?
Well, I mean, hey. We got to get him and Trevor Murdoch. Don't you know this?
If that is actually true.
Oh. No. Oh. Again, we saw it the only time was in 2005 when Flair was the Intercontinental Champion in WWE, but still, that was, again, like over 16 years ago. No. No, please no.
Just no.
No.
But, you know, going back to the knockouts, I will say this. Years ago, they had some of the best women's wrestling in the United States, at least.
Well, you also have to think of the stance when they first started up the Knockouts division, right? That was 2007. You know who the WWE Women's Champion was in 2007?
Was that was Trish was gone by then.
Yeah. So they switched
it. Michelle McCool?
Well, that started with Michelle McCool would win the Divas Championship. I can't remember if it was that was when Michelle McCool won the Divas title, but at the same time with the Raw Women's Championship itself, it was Melina, it was Candice Michelle, and then it was Beth Phoenix. I think when they started around Bound for Glory, Beth Phoenix was the champ.
Hey, I can't say anything about Beth Phoenix. That's the hometown girl right there.
But no, that's cool. But at the same time, like Melina, going for the freaking women's championship. So, I mean, then you have the knockouts, which Gail Kim heavily pushed. She wins the knockouts Bound for Glory. But also, what was very memorable about that pay-per-view, man, Awesome Kong and her boobies coming out when she gets over the top rope.
I mean, Awesome Kong to me is probably one of the most underrated women's wrestlers in history.
Dude, did you shed a tear on that Hall of Fame speech, man? I saw her going to Hall of Fame. I got to say, I got a little emotional there, Dan.
Yeah, she was honestly, she deserved it. You know, I know that she had a very brief WWE run that it ended, you know, for personal reasons. But it's a shame that they never reached out again to try and say, well, hey, let's do business.
The only time that they ever did was she was in that Royal Rumble where she like friggin' mollywopped Dolph Ziggler and mollywopped Michael Cole. That was it.
Which, you know what, I could watch her beat on Michael Cole all day.
Same.
Like I couldn't get enough of that.
It was like when Daniel Bryan beat up Michael Cole, or even Zack Ryder doing that botched ass Rough Rider on Michael Cole on that Raw, man. Like, I'll take anybody beating up Michael Cole.
And remember when Michael Cole had the his little Fortress of Solitude thing,
the coal mine, man. The coal mine was
the coal mine, yeah.
Yeah.
And Lawler had a hold of the tie, and he kept pulling. And then you have JBL sitting over there laughing like a hyena.
Still one of the worst WrestleMania matches in history, Michael Cole and Jay Lawler, but still, that's funny. You know what I'm saying? That is funny.
Hey, you got to respect Michael Cole's undefeated streak.
Just no. Just no.
So, back to the knockouts here.
Yeah.
You know, we've got Awesome Kong, so insanely talented. Now, who are some of your favorite knockouts?
Well, one, just because I'm biased and it's on this channel, you guys can check out the interview with her. Trinity was one of my favorites. When Trinity came into Impact TNA at the time, she was with Kid Cash. Then she was a part of the NYC with Vito, Boy Disco Inferno, and Johnny Swinger. And then she just broke off by herself, and she was on. We're coming up on the anniversary. She was on the first ever 3-hour pay-per-view at Victory Road. She beat Jacqueline, who came in after being the WWE Cruiserweight champ at the time. And she could work. She was a stunt woman. She looked fantastic. She's a Long Islander, and she had one of the most beautiful moonsaults ever, which was known as the Fall from Grace. You had every man's desire. Desire didn't really wrestle, but she was more of a valet. She was with Sonny Siaki at the time. You had Goldilocks, who was doing her thing as a manager and an interviewer. So, I mean, that's the early stages. But one of my absolute favorites was Trinity because she was so athletic and she looked good and still looks good, Dan.
For me, you know, I gotta go with Awesome Kong. You know, to me, she was. When you think of a woman's wrestler, you think of a stereotypical mold. Awesome Kong didn't fit that mold. You know, she was somebody that, she was a bigger person, but she could move around like some of the smaller girls out there.
That's the thing, man. Her athleticism, and like when we were talking about the originals, you have to understand when they were NWA TNA, like most of those girls were in the cages dancing. We had Lollipop, for God's sake, and I mean, Tracy Brooks was like, yeah, she was there as a wrestler, not bad, and I love me some Tracy Brooks. But at the same time, we didn't really have that division like when Gail and Awesome were doing their thing. And I mean, we had what's her face, Rain, who would go on to be Peyton Banks, who was in TNA very briefly as Robert Roode's like a best fan. You had people coming in, but you didn't have it like it was established in 2007.
Yeah.
Dude, remember Sorelda? Remember when AMW and Gail Kim were together when she came in after leaving the WWE? Sorelda was that muscular woman that was with AJ and Daniels, the wrestler. That was like the gist of what we got.
Yeah. And it's just, it was nice because back then, WWE, the women's wrestlers would have, maybe 2 minutes on a Raw.
That's about it.
Or, you'd have like a 30-second match, and then that's it. You might get a bra and panties segment if you're lucky.
Yeah, but that was it. I mean, you'll have Victoria squash Stacy Keibler. That was it.
And then you'd have the same thing on SmackDown, on the pay-per-views. And I think Impact saw what the WWE was doing. And I thought, you know what? let's try doing it this way.
And it was right, man. And here's what's funny about that. Like, again, as the Ring of Honor fan and everything, we know what's going on with Ring of Honor now. RIP, Ring of Honor. But yo, the Shimmer, man. Shimmer, Dave Prazak's promotion, you would go to those events and you see women tear it down. They were the equivalent of what Shimmer had with the Ring of Honor and the Indies. And then you give the Knockouts some time, man, because that's what it's about, man. Before this whole give Divas a chance thing with the Bellas, we have the Knockouts division. The Knockouts perfected it first.
Yeah, and now it seems like we're backsliding.
What, with the Knockouts now in Impact?
Knockouts, WWE, same thing. It's we're not where we were. We're not that bad yet, but it's the golden age of the Knockouts division. We had great matches.
I mean, you bring in girls like Talia Madison and Angel Williams, who would go on to be Angelina Sky and Velvet Sky, and Angelina Love, and Velvet Sky, and the Beautiful People. And then Madison Rayne comes along, and then you have Roxy Laveau, who I love, Nikki Rocks. You had okay. Here's the thing: great wrestler, but she comes in as this voodoo lady shaking with the VKM. You remember her just shaking with the voodoo man? Oh, the voodoo queen. But no, man, and then you had friggin' Sojourner Bolt, who was Sojo Bolt, and the Khan Taraj, fucking Raka Khan,
What the hell ever happened to her?
I don't know and I don't care, but yeah, and apparently she owes Awesome Kong's Aunt money. But I digress. No, dude, she was tall. I remember first seeing about this girl because she was under a WWE developmental contract. They released her, and then she goes over to TNA. She's one of Scott Steiner's freaks, Little Petey Pump. But for the God's sake, man, then they put in the Entourage, and the only reason she stayed around is we know why, because at the time she was dating Kurt Angle.
Oh yeah, I remember that whole thing.
Yeah, friggin' Kurt Angle goes from Karen to friggin' Raka Khan. Raka Khan.
Yeah, if I remember right, she was backstage with the infamous Steiner promo.
Yes, that was the same one with the 33% chance. Yes, that was Petey, Raka, and Scott. Yep.
And even her expression was just like, "What am I hearing?"
But she was so green, and she sucked. And the problem was as well, you brought people around that time too. And I'm going to say this right now. Lacey Von Erich is a beautiful lady, but she is no Kerry. She is no Kevin. She was the shits. She was like female David Flair. She fucking sucked. And the beautiful people was not the same with Lacey Von Erich in it.
Hey, David Flair is a former WCW United States champion.
Stop it. Friggin' him and Benoit? No, not at all. Him and Crow.
To be fair,
yes.
WCW was handing out titles like they were candy back in the day.
All right, well, this is very true because we also had Mongo win the title, so yes. I'll accept
Mongo.
I'm getting Mongo. But no, dude, like him and Crowbar were the tag champs, and Crowbar is wrestling on fucking AEW Dark or whatever it was, and I'm like, fucking Crowbar.
I just wonder, just as an aside, when's AEW going to bring in David Arquette?
Waiting for that next, right? No. But hey,
you know what I want to see? I want to see David Arquette versus Nick Gage, the rematch.
At AEW. There you go.
Oh. I don't think that's ever happening.
Oh. Tony. We were just talking about freaking Mongo, Tony. Tony.
But you know what? I think, to me, one of the greatest feuds in Knockouts history was Gail Kim and Awesome Kong.
Yes. And also, here's the thing about Awesome Kong, because we were talking about, like, she could get over anybody. She fucking had a great match with Christy Hemme. Her and Gail Kim. The feud with, her and Roxy did some good stuff too, Roxy Laveau. But she had a lot of great feuds, man. But the Gail Kim will always stand the test of time because it was
you think of great feuds, in wrestling history. You think, and memorable feuds. Your Flairs and your Harley Races. Your Rock and Austin, Triple H, Mick Foley. Like the women's division doesn't get that much attention. But to me, one of the greatest women's feuds, I would say, between WWE, TNA, is Awesome Kong and Gail Kim.
Well, this is also Gail Kim we're talking about. I'm going to say what kind of succeeded, but kind of was on the level because you wouldn't expect it. When her and Taryn Terrell had their feud, it was phenomenal. Like Gail Kim got a great match out of Taryn Terrell. Taryn Terrell, who was Tiffany on WWE, she was a part of the Divas Search. She was the general manager of ECW, WWE ECW. Then she comes over to fucking Impact and she's a referee. Then she gets in the ring and it's marvelous.
The former Drew McIntyre, Mrs. Drew McIntyre.
She beat that boy down back in 2010, Dan.
Now, is she even still in the business?
Yes, because I think she did do something in NWA. I could be wrong. Somebody could correct me on that, but I know she's made a couple of appearances. And I know the last time she wrestled in Impact was 2007, 16 or 17. And I know she did a couple of appearances, and she was at the Hall of Fame for Gail Kim. So, I mean, she's been around.
But, I think the thing now is it seems that Impact is in sort of like a rebuilding of their Knockouts division.
I mean, who they have now? They have there's Deanna, there's Sue Young, there's Kimberly, there's obviously now we got the Inspiration. We got some girls that are on the come up there doing their damn thing.
And you know what? I'm sorry, but I got to be in the minority here. I see talent in the Inspiration. I see potential.
Well, they've always been good, but the problem was WWE split them up. Is because Billy Kay was funny solo, but you saw something in Peyton Royce and you didn't do nothing with it. You did nothing, and you have them gelled here in Impact. And I mean, you have Tennille Dashwood there, their fellow Aussie. There's Madison Raines there again. I mean, there's potential with the Knockouts division, man. And Jordan.
There is, and you know what the thing is, like both of them, you had talent, and then just WWE.
They didn't know what to do.
Like always.
Yep, it's one of those things too now where I mean we're talking about the women, and I mentioned Jordan Grace, who's now the Digital Media Championship. Got her Shawn Michaels impression, man.
The ugliest championship I have ever seen.
It's so bad.
Like seriously, it looks. When remember when you're in school and you see the person next to you has their homework done, and they're usually smart. You didn't do yours, so you go over to them and you say, "Hey, can I copy your homework?"
Yes.
And they say, "Yeah, fine. Just don't make it look too obvious."
I've had that on many occasions in school. Then yes.
That's this title.
Yep. Exactly.
And you couldn't come up with a better name.
The Digital Media Championship. Yes. And here's the thing: I would have loved it if it would have went to Chelsea Green because her boyfriend is Matt Cardona. So I'm like, hello, but you gave it to Jordan Grace.
Now, is it an intergender kind of title thing, or?
Oh man, I just as soon as I saw the belt, you already disinterested me, man. I know Jordan Grace has gone for the X Division title, but like I said, I mean, what Jordan Grace doing the damn thing over there, and I mean, you have Alicia Edwards in the Knockouts division now. You have a lot of potential, and I mean, we did have, and I'll just say it here, Tessa Blanchard, great wrestler, but I mean, she did her thing. We got to give her credit, and we had Allie, and we've had Rosemary, who's still doing it with Havoc. I mean, there's a lot of veterans there, and there's a lot of newcomers. So like you said, they're rebuilding, but at the same time, you got those household names that we've seen these last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, and it's just a thing. And this is why you and I have talked about this, privately. This to me is a truly exciting time to be a wrestling fan.
We have that variety, man. We have the variety with everything that we're seeing.
Exactly, and also, if you gotta think about it, WWE is still at the pinnacle. They're still at the top of the mountain. But when you have them release talent, before it was like, well, what are they gonna do? Now, you have options. You have AEW, you have Impact, you have ROH. Well, not Ring of Honor anymore.
MLW, you have NWA.
MLW, you have NWA. You have all these options, and it gets me there's a lot of female talent out there.
I mean, I was so happy to see Mercedes Martinez on Impact and on the pay-per-view, man, because she's so good. She's a veteran, and WWE just said, yeah. And I know she just did an interview about being in retaliation. She's like, I wasn't digging the character. I didn't want to wear the mask, and just she didn't like the whole thing about the character, which I don't blame her. You know, yeah, you to do this shit.
You know, I would not be shocked if they let her go because of that.
And I know the whole thing now is budget cuts. That's the main thing now in WWE. Oh, with budget cuts. That's the term now. We used to be future endeavor. Now it's budget cuts. So I mean, she was doing her thing. She was in the middle of a feud when she got released with friggin' Xia Li and all that stuff. But now she's just going on and being a badass, man. She's doing a lot of indie bookings. I saw on New York there, man, Outlaw Pro Wrestling. She's wrestling the Prodigy, Angel Orsini. So I mean, hey, she's still getting a lot of great bookings, man.
Yeah, and it's nice to see her get the credit that she deserves because, you know what? Yeah, she's older, but she can still fucking go.
She can, and that's the thing too, man. Like we talked about Mercedes, we talked about, and I'm going to say this right now, Knockouts Knockdown showcased a lot of amazing talent. And one I'll mention here is Jamie Senegal, who great talent, friends with Daphne, admired Daphne. There's that mentor and protege thing, and that's another one you have to mention, Daphne, God rest her soul. One of the best talents in Impact history, the first ever female Monsters Ball with Taylor Wilde, who's now back there. Daphne was another one that really revolutionized women's wrestling. And I will say, the two things I hated about her run, and I think you know where I'm going to go with this. Number one, the Rosie Lotta Love thing should not have happened, and it still breaks my heart that did happen. And number two, remember the lockbox thing that they did? The fucking lockbox where one of them has the title in it? And she had to strip, and you could tell she was so uncomfortable and did not want to do that.
That was a Russo thing, wasn't it?
Bro, here's what we're going to do. We're going to put a title in there. We're going to put Tara Spider up in there, bro. And we're just going to have a lockbox. Pick and choose, bro. Pick and choose. This happened.
I'm pretty sure that was a Russo thing.
That was a Russo thing, bro. He did it, bro. Fucking Tara Spider. That's another one. Tara, Victoria did her thing. Brooke Tessmacher and her booty. Okay, there's one we have to touch upon because we're bouncing all over the place. But goddamn it, Dan. This woman went from being a part of Extreme Expose and the WWE just dancing, shaking her booty. Never saw her wrestle. Then she goes to TNA / Impact, and she's one of the top stars there. Former Knockouts champ, tag champ. Let her go. Let her go.
And, you know, that's just the thing. Like, let these girls do their thing. Let them see what they can do.
Exactly, man. And we mentioned the beautiful people in Tara. But another one I got to say right now that I always did enjoy. I mean, Hamada was there with us on Kong. We got Hamada in there. And her and Eric Young had a banger of a match on Impact and back in like 2010, man. But, yo, it's one I will say about like the women that we've had come through Impact. Like, Havoc was originally there. Here's what's funny. I'm a big Jessica Havoc fan. I love Jessica Havoc. I mean, beautiful girl, big girl, but goddamn, man, she can move. When they brought her in 2014 and she won the title, did nothing with her. Then she goes away and then she comes back and she fucking tears it down. It's just amazing just to see that evolution of her character, too.
And you also had, you know, people, if I recall, Mia Yim, wasn't she also in Impact for a hot minute?
We got to talk about this. Jade, Marty Bell, and Taryn, the dollhouse, baby. Jade was a former Knockouts champ. She was great. Mia Yim was amazing in Impact.
And she's doing what now?
Nothing. Nothing.
It's sad because she is so talented.
But that Retribution killed her too, man. Like, fucking Retribution. That goddamn Retribution. And now they split up everybody.
And none of them are doing anything.
Well, T-Bar wrestled on Raw against Damian Priest, and I looked at that. Oh, God. I looked at that. Like, NXT, I would have loved this, but on Raw, I hate it.
Get rid of the names.
Just have him be Dijakovic.
Yeah. You can't call him Dominic because we already have Dominic.
We already got Dominic Mysterio. Oh.
Which, that boy's turning heel, guaranteed.
And I don't want to see it. And I'm sorry, but I don't. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see Father versus Son. Oh.
It's going to happen. Probably, I'm going to say WrestleMania.
Yeah. By the way, another one we have to mention. Knockouts. One of the worst knockouts matches in history. Victory Road 2009. Sharmella versus Jenna Maraska. They brought in Jenna Maraska to do that. Forget the Jersey Shore stuff we've touched upon in past episodes. Fucking Jenna Maraska from Survivor, man. Do you remember that match, Dan?
I tried to forget it.
Hey, man, it happened. We had Sharmell, Booker T's wife, who wrestled a little bit on WWE. I mean, she did get the worm kissed by the Boogeyman at WrestleMania 22. But still, like, no. And it happened. And I didn't want it to happen, but they made it happen. It sucked.
You know, the great thing, like, Sharmo, she was, like, on TV both, because I know she did some stuff in Impact, too.
Yeah.
You know, she had that, you know, she played the heel so well.
She was so good, man.
But yet you see her out of it, she's like one of the sweetest people.
She's one of the kindest, most gentle souls to ever be on this planet, man.
Like, I think that is how, like, the best ones. Like, you look at Mick Foley and, you know, his ECW work as Cactus Jack, so dark.
Yep. But Mick is like one of the nicest and coolest people in the world.
He's a teddy bear.
He is. He's a gentle soul. He's a gentle soul.
And to see Sharmell, like, again, total softy.
Well, it's like Sherry Martel. Sherry Martel was tough as nails, God rest her soul. But outside the ring, she was awesome.
You know, we need more people like her. Like,
We do, man. We absolutely fucking do.
we need less people like Tessa Blanchard.
Again, great talent, but everything behind her sucks. And remember the time, well, we got to mention it because it is Knockouts history, when she was going against Sami Callihan for the world title. And before that, she beat Brian Cage. Everybody was in an uproar that we were having this intergender match for the world title.
And you know what? I didn't care.
Intergender wrestling is a thing. You know, Lucha Underground did its thing with intergender wrestling. I mean, it's a thing. You know what I'm saying? It's become popularized over the years.
You know, it's... And again, you and I have talked about this. There's niches all over wrestling. You know, there's intergender wrestling. There's deathmatch wrestling. There's literally something for everybody. And when this whole Brian Cage, Tessa Blanchard thing happened, I didn't care.
No, I really didn't. And I mean, also you got to think of around this time too. I mean, we mentioned girls like Kiara Hogan. At the same time, during even the GFW era, they gave us Allison Kay Sienna. They gave us Rosemary. They gave us Christina Von Eerie for 2 weeks. Well, you know what I'm saying? And they brought in, oh God, remember Lady Tappa?
Yeah.
Lady Tappa. Lady effing Tappa.
Wasn't she Barbarian's kid?
Yes, she was related to the Barbarian, yes. And she was okay, but she wasn't the best. But Lady effing Tappa. And they brought in fucking Hanaya the Huntress from Ring of Honor, who had an attitude problem, and she was quickly out the door.
Attitude problems. That seems to be a habit with Impact. Tessa?
Yes. But, I mean, hey, it gave us a lot. Well, here's the thing about Rebel, because Rebel's in AEW now, and she was an Impact. When she was in the Dollhouse, I had no issue with it. When she was with the Menagerie, had no issue with it. But I got to say, over time, she really improved her skills in the ring, too.
And what's she doing? Now, what is she doing?
She's palling around with Britt Baker. That's it. Her hater. So we're doing, man. We gotta pal around with everybody. Don't you know we're all friends? We're friends to the end. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Friends forever. Take it back to Saved by the Bell. Zack Attack.
No.
Yes.
Not gonna do it.
Not gonna do it. But no, dude. The evolution that we've had with the women's wrestlers and the knockouts has put on so many great matches. And I will say this right now. Go from the golden age, like you're talking about. Go from like 2007 to... All right, so where does the golden age stop for you? Because obviously it starts at 2007. I'm going to say the golden age for me was till about 20... 15, 16. Where does it stop for you? Where
I would say about 2014,
2014?
2015-ish.
All right. I mean, again, they lost a lot of the women around that time. But then, like I said, it really picked up with the whole Allie Rosemary stuff because the Demon Bunny stuff worked. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was amazing stuff. And Sienna worked because she was new and she got over with Pinky. And I'm going to say it because I know a lot of people hated the way she exited Impact and she's back there now. Laurel Van Ness was funny. Laurel Van Ness, this distraught bride, didn't get married, and this whole thing, this crazy psycho, she pulled that character off to a T.
So again, like I said earlier, I feel like they're like building up the division again. You know, they brought back the knockout tag titles, which, you know, great. Hopefully they do more with them now.
I mean, you have to give it credit too. Like, well, first and foremost, you're bringing back a title who the last knockouts tag titles were fucking Eric Young and ODB, a man who got that title over. There's another woman who was amazing in Impact, ODB. It was fun. Bam. You know what I'm saying? Like, it worked. She was so fucking funny.
And she makes a great barbecue sauce, by the way.
Love you some ODB barbecue sauce, Dan. How much of that barbecue sauce have you eaten, Dan?
No comment. No comment.
But no, I mean, the Knockouts tag titles. I mean, we've had Jordan Grace and Rachel Ellering. We've had Kiara Hogan and Tasha Steelz mesh very well. I know Tasha's with Savannah Evans now, promising young talent. I mean, yeah, the Knockouts tag titles are building them up. You had Rosemary and Havoc, and now you got the Inspiration. So we're getting there. We're getting back to the prestige of the Knockouts tag titles.
I'll tell you, I think it's going to be an iconic
title. Yes. But I have no issue with that. Again, people were pissed because they come right in the win when they win the tag titles. So, like, how many times have we seen this in professional wrestling when somebody comes in and wins? Gail Kim, who was in the WWE the first go-round, she won the title in a Battle Royal on her first night.
Yeah. You know, it's funny, and it's ironic. Her debut in WWE occurred in a Battle Royal. Her exit occurred in a Battle Royal.
I'm so glad you brought this up. This woman said, fuck it. And she just eliminated herself from the Battle Royal. And I remembered, I'm like, this woman just eliminated herself from the Battle Royal. She did not care. She wanted out of that company.
She quit on live TV.
On live TV. She said, fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks. Like, that's what she said. But, I mean, can you blame her? They were not doing anything with her. Remember they had that dumbass storyline where the Bellas were into Daniel Bryan, and then it turns out that Daniel Bryan's with Gail Kim, and it made no fucking sense. When in real life, he was dating Brie Bella. They did nothing with this girl, and it was so bad. And I mean, you had Katie Lee Burchill there around that time too, and she was in TNA as Winter. Her and Angelina Love were lovers.
Now that was a great storyline.
Okay, you know I'm gonna criticize this a little bit. First and foremost, they went the WCW route as she's the only one that could see her in the mirror, fucking Warrior and Hogan style. But then they turned him into like lesbian lovers, which was cool. But then it got a little weird. Like she hypnotized her, and now all of a sudden Angelina loves a zombie, and it really like went out there though. I got to say that really went out there. That went to a different.
And the reason I say it was great, and I'll be honest.
Okay.
They gave it a shot.
Okay. I mean, they were doing something different. Instead of having Angelina love beautiful people, they went into a different direction. Okay. Makes
exactly.
sense.
And, you know, you had Velvet Sky try to, you know, pull her out of it.
Come on, Angelina.
You know, they should have brought in Brother Devon. Or, sorry, Reverend Devon.
Testify. Get this fucking demon out of me. Oh.
Another horrible gimmick.
So bad. Well, Christy Hemme, I mean, all right, we got to mention Christy Hemme too, because I mentioned her in Awesome Kong. But when she came into TNA, that was when the whole thing with the Voodoo Kin Mafia. Remember, she brought in like all these teams to fight them, and they friggin' bring in the C-level WWE guys that were on Heat and Velocity. They wrestled the Heartbreakers, the former Heartthrobs. They wrestled the friggin' Basham brothers, and then she's all of a sudden she turns on them, and she's with Lance Hoyt. And then we had the Rock and Rave infection, which, by the way, love prayers and everything go out to Jimmy Rave. Jimmy effing Rave, man. That's the dude.
Didn't she bring Generation Me?
No, that was different. They came in on their own accord. I don't think she was never with Generation Me. She was always with Rock and Rave.
Wonder what ever happened to those guys.
I don't know. A couple of young bucks went somewhere.
You know, maybe they became elite. You know,
Never know. You never know, man. Sometimes you just got to super kick that door down, man.
that you do. And you know what? You look at Impact, and I will say this: I think WWE directly copied the Impact Wrestling or Knockout division.
Okay, wait a minute now. I thought you were going to go a different route because there was always around that time period, I'll say 2009-ish, 2010, everybody would compare. The Lay Cool was a knockoff version of the Beautiful People.
It was. Absolutely was.
I mean, okay, if you had to pick, I'm going to put you on the spot. Angela Love and Velvet Sky or Michelle McCool and Layla? Because Michelle McCool and Layla were very funny, but if you had to pick between the two.
Beautiful People all day.
Yeah, they were a little bit more edgier than them. They were toned down is what they were.
To me, Lay Cool was like an annoying fly. You know, that you just want to be like, go away.
It was like a watered down version of Mean Girls.
And they went too far with Lay Cool.
Well, everybody will always talk about the Piggy James thing, which was just so cruel, and they made Mickey James legit cry on live TV.
That, like I said, it went way too far.
Yes, it went too far. The Beautiful People have gone far, but not to that realm. You ever notice in their posts everything is slut, bitch, and whore every time that they would curse somebody out?
And, you know, you watch interviews like with Michelle McCool since she didn't like doing that.
But, you know, that's the thing. Well, they unfortunately, fat shaming is the thing that they've done. I mean, they did it with Falaba and friggin' Impact. They've done a lot of gimmicks like that because it's a topical topic, to put it bluntly. But still, at the end of the day, it's like, you don't need to do this.
It's cheap heat.
It is. It's cheap. It's cheap. Cheap.
And you know what? I'm really surprised they haven't really done it that much with Piper Niven, a.k.a. Dewdrop.
Okay, that girl is getting that character to work, and she's embracing the love and the whole, you know, the spirit finger stuff. But at the same time, it's like the fact that I'm surprised they haven't either. But I think they implied it with she's with Eva Marie, because look at Eva Marie and look at you. That's like to the extent that they went to it. They made it like a PG reference of, hey, I'm a fat shamer.
I think, you know, as a society, we're more aware of these things now, which. But you know what? And again, they copied the Impact Knockout division.
Yeah. Well, the Divas division, when they started with Michelle McCool, and they had Maurice, and they had Maria, and they had all these people. Maria, who also rarely in the ring, but she was an imposing force in TNA. She did crack me up with Mike Bennett and just her wrestling in general. So, I mean, friggin' Karen Jarrett remember she was like the leader of the Knockouts? Fucking Madison, right?
and don't forget Brooke Hogan.
Please, no. I try to forget Brooke Hogan, man. Fuck. Like, not needed. Just not needed. The practice.
You could tell she didn't want to be there. She didn't want to be there.
Did not want to be in Bully Ray's Lover, Mr. Lover.
And apparently they actually did date for a while.
Brother. Date my daughter, brother.
We gotta get this angle over, brother.
You gotta date my brother.
Oh, God.
Did I ever tell you about that tweet that he retweeted?
No.
Oh my God. I can't believe I'm going to bring this up. Okay, so there was a tweet somebody wrote to Hulk Hogan, and the guy wrote, "Hey, Hulk, I'm balls deep in Brooke. Can I get a retweet?" And Hulk Hogan retweeted that. HH! Fucking HH in every tweet would cite it HH. Balls deep in Brooke, brother. Can I get a retweet? And he tweeted it.
You know, he probably didn't even know what that meant.
He doesn't even know what balls. Brother, you got balls deeper? Okay, that's nice. Here you go, brother. Retweet.
Brother, I don't even know what that means.
Brother. Well, he was balls deep in something. Ask Bubba the Love Sponge. Okay, yeah, I went there. Fucking. All right, that's the ultimate mark, and we're gonna get off this in a sec. But that's the ultimate mark. You let your best friend have sex with your wife, and you filmed it. You fucking chubby piece of shit. Fuck you, Todd Clem. Fuck you, Bubba the Love Sponge. All right, I'm done. Yes, I had to bring it up. There's balls deep for you.
They should have just let Awesome Kong kick his ass.
He did. Okay, that is the best thing that Awesome Kong has ever done. She beat the shit out of Bubba the Love Sponge, and she beat the shit out of Rebby Sky. That is why Awesome Kong's a legend. Forget even the wrestling stuff. The fact that she molly-whopped Rebby Sky, that makes you damn.
You better be careful. You don't want to get an angry rage tweet.
Oh, okay. First and foremost, I'm from New York too. We're both from New York. I think we could take it there. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry if I get insulted by the great Rebby Sky, who fucking had no career. The only reason why people know her is because she's married to Matt Hardy. Stop it.
But you know what? I just wish the whole Bubba the Love Sponge thing getting beaten up. I wish that had happened on TV.
And here's the thing really quickly about Rebby. She was very nice when I met her, but still at the same time, she needs to watch her goddamn mouth. But going back to Bubba the Love Sponge, the band, if that would have happened, okay, your boy, Mick Foley, knocked the crap out of him and gave him a black eye. That was on TV.
But to see Awesome Kong do it, like...
Oh, I know, but still, at the same time, Mick Foley gave him a nice little shiner.
And what do? They fire her.
They fire her when this motherfucker's talking about Haiti and insulting her on his C-level radio show, and they get rid of her because he's buddy-buddy with Hulk. They fire her.
Then, like, a couple months later, didn't Hogan leave, and then they try to bring her back, and she's like, no.
Yeah, they tried to bring her back, and she's like, I ain't going back there. And then she came to WWE as Karma.
Which, you know, I feel like that's just so many missed opportunities. Like, her and Beth Phoenix, to me, would have been amazing.
Agreed. But unfortunately, we didn't get to do that. And I think a lot of people, they said back in the day with the locker room, they didn't want to wrestle her because, you know, that they felt that they were getting, you know. Well, you got to admit, also the girls at the time were like Alicia Fox and the Bellas, and they're like, we don't want to get fucking stiffed.
You know, it's like when they brought in Taz. You know, people were afraid they'd get hurt.
Yes, and that match with Kurt Angle where he pretty much dropped Kurt on his head was the worry point there.
Yeah, and
you know,
it kills me. You know, to me, if you had to pick, you know, because we'll start to bring it on in. If you had to pick your top 3 knockouts of all time, who do you go with?
Awesome Kong, Gail Kim, and I have to pick a third one. Oh man, I mean, well, we mentioned Mickie James's run, and I'm not going to say Mickie James. Mickie James is up there, but I have that vision of her getting thrown off the train tracks. That's why it makes me laugh. But she had so many great matches as the Knockouts champ. I'm still pissed that she won, even though I like her. Oh man, I got to think of a third one. That's tough. That is tough. Mickie James, Awesome Kong. No, not Mickie James. Sorry, Gail Kim, Awesome Kong. Man, if I had to pick another one, I will go with just because she's on the Mount Rushmore there too, and just because she pulled off the character so well, I got to go Angelina Love.
I'm gonna go with Awesome Kong.
Awesome Kong.
Gail Kim.
Okay, who's your third?
Deonna Purrazzo.
Oh, so you're going to go current. Okay, all right.
Yep. I think Deonna Purrazzo is going to go to the moon.
So you're going to see her become a 3-time Knockouts champ and beat Mickie back for the belt.
Yeah, and I think, you know, whether she stays in Impact long term, I don't know. I think she's going to do great things.
Well, she has proved since she's gotten released from the WWE how awesome she's been, and that's another one that they let go that was so good.
Yeah.
That's all you really can say, but yeah, no, that's the Knockouts, man. That's 2007. That's even beforehand, man. I mentioned fucking Lollipop for God's sake, but no, this is what you get with this show, man. We bounce around with professional wrestling, but what encompasses professional wrestling with Impact is the Knockouts, man. And they got their own pay-per-view. They've been killing it. We have a lot of new additions. So to me, man, even around that time period and what we have now, I got to say, Impact, y'all know what you were doing. Dutch Mantel agenting the matches. Knockouts, baby. It's the Knockouts.
Good old Zeb Coulter.
Zeb Coulter, yes. But no, that's every time like I said, we're talking about this and I'm smiling because, again, nothing will beat what we had. I mean, we had bra and panties at the time, and Impact said, you know what, let's change the game. Gail Kim, thank you. Because if it wasn't for Gail Kim, we wouldn't have had this Knockouts division.
You know, they brought in women's wrestling, and they said, okay, go wrestle.
That's sometimes what you have to say in general to people, you know, just go out there and wrestle. You know, just here's your time. It's like, I'll say with women, man, you just give Gail Kim and Awesome Kong time, they go. Like with Shawn Michaels and John Cena, just go 55 minutes. They went 55 minutes. Just give them time, let them go, and put on a show.
Yeah, show the people what you can do.
And it does significantly show when it comes to the Knockouts division. And people, check out Knockouts Knockdown if you haven't. Check out Mickey Indiana, even though we're not happy about the result. Check out the Inspiration winning the tag titles. Just check out women's wrestling. Not just professional wrestling. Like we say every week, it's a great time to be a professional wrestling fan. But watch you some great women's wrestling, man.
It is an iconic time to be a wrestling fan.
Time to be a professional wrestling fan. And on that note, do you have any final words before we close out this bad boy, Mr. Daniel Crimmins?
You know, I would be remiss in my duties here if I did not say, Michael, what do we have for next week? I think we have a phenomenal show lined up for next week.
My goodness, Daniel Crimmins, we are going to be talking about none other than Get Ready to Fly, the phenomenal AJ Styles.
We'll go all the way from the beginnings, the humble beginnings, up until his rather odd exit.
Yes. And also we'll talk about the fact that they tried to do the CM Punk angle with AJ Styles taking that TNA title, Impact title, in his car, raising it up. We're going to go there. We're going to talk about it.
Oh, we're going there.
Oh, we're going there. So, guys, thank you for listening to another edition of the Adrenaline Rush podcast. We'll be back next week. It's going to be a phenomenal week. AJ Styles, and we're out. We'll talk to you guys next time.